This lens here earned me multiple six figures. This lens here also earned me multiple six figures. This lens here, not so much. It's getting me there. I feel like I was playing This Little Piggy. This little piggy went to the market. This little piggy went to the farm. This little piggy went all the way home. I don't know the rest of that rhyme, but you get the picture. These are the three lenses I use as a content creator, and there are so many pros to having them, but they also come with some considerable cons. We're definitely going to talk through all of that today. I'm going to break down each lens, and then we'll do some comparisons so you get some kind of idea of what looks you're going to get. Also stick around because I'm going to share a little known secret lens hack that's going to guarantee you get the best image out of practically every lens every time. Let's talk about it.
Okay, you know how I go. Hey, yeah. Okay, you know how I go, and I'm always on my own. And you running through my mind, and the weather's getting cold. And my homies getting cuffed, and I'm stuck here all alone. And I'm scrolling through the gram, and you pop up in my phone. Yeah, you know. That won't say it's paper, and this could be a secret, yeah.
What up, K-Crew? Today we're going to talk about the three lenses I think every content creator should have in their arsenal and why. If you're new to this channel and you're looking to improve your content creation game, I'm Kevin Lee, and I've been creating content for a long time for brands, businesses, and influencers, and I share what I learned here on this channel. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because I'm going to drop some more value content in the near future. As always, links are in the description to the products I'm going to talk about today. They're all Amazon affiliate links, so if you click on anything and you decide to buy, I get a super small commission that helps support me in growing this channel. Let's get going. So if you're watching this video, you're probably shopping around for lenses and you're trying to decide what's going to give you the best bang for your buck.
Well, we're waiting.
They're the 14-24 f2.8, the 24-70 f2.8, and the 70-200 f2.8. I believe that there are perfect lenses for specific purposes, and then there are lenses that are great generalists that pretty much cover all the other bases. Ultimately, it depends on the skill sets of the creator and the conditions that they're in. In my case, these three lenses have had the most use out of all my lenses in my productions and have earned me the most money in my career as a creator. That's why I recommend these to you today. Let's start with the ultra-wide zoom lens, the 14-24 f2.8. Now this particular lens is a Sigma 14-24 f2.8 L-mount lens. This lives on one of the two cameras in my backpack. I use it heavily for gimbal work with my DJI Ronin S2 in real estate shoots, tracking shots with a moving subject, vlogs, walk and talk videos, gym workouts, and pretty much anything that requires getting the most into frame, especially in tight shots. Now, what I especially love about this lens is that regardless of what focal length I zoom to, the lens doesn't telescope, meaning it doesn't shorten or lengthen. So when I use this on a gimbal, I don't have to rebalance the gimbal when I change focal lengths. Now the pros and the cons. Pro, it's a sharp and versatile lens and great for fitting a lot into a tight shot without getting that totally weird fisheye look. I love the look of this lens because it creates these leading lines towards anything that's meant to be the focal point in your shot, especially in the middle. Also, this lens has a solid, sturdy build while still being relatively lightweight. Now the con is, while it's not totally fisheye, there is a bit of distortion at the edge of the frame, especially at 14 millimeters. Again, this lens is incredibly sharp even at the edges, but the things that are near the edges of the frame do get stretched out. So you definitely don't want any subjects framed at the edges because they'll look like titans compared to anything towards the center of the frame. Another con is that you can't use traditional VNDs, variable neutral density filters. There's no filter thread on this lens. I have seen some rear ND filters for the lens, but I don't like having to remove the lens from the body very often to swap them out. The more often I have to remove the lens from the body, the more likely I'm going to introduce dust into my sensor. Now, I could always rig up the camera to add a matte box or something for this, or I could even just add a cold shoe mounted flag to prevent sun flares and stuff, but it really wouldn't be as easy to fly on a gimbal. Let's talk about the ideal situations for this lens. I use this lens for up-close, tight shots for vlogs and talking head videos, or making the space look way larger than it really is. Also, if you're trying to make people look skinnier on camera, this is the lens to use. Let's talk about the generalist, the 24-70 f2.8. easily the most used lens in my kit. The focal range here is perfect for talking head videos, vlogging, at least if you have long enough arms. I clearly don't. I have T-Rex arms. Interviews, podcasts, behind the scenes, B-roll, music videos, documentaries, just to name a few. In terms of photography, I use this lens quite a bit because of the versatile shots I can get with it. In fact, I truly believe that it was because of this lens I was able to book more gigs, create more content, and earn new opportunities. Let's talk about the pros and cons. Like the 14 to 24 f2.8, this lens is incredibly sharp and versatile. At 24 millimeters, it's wide enough to capture a lot into frame without that fisheye distortion. And when you zoom in, you get to 35 millimeters for portrait and landscape photography and that medium to medium wide shot. And then when you zoom into 50 millimeters, which is similar perspective to the human eye, you have a focal length that's useful for street photography and medium shots. And then at 70 millimeters, at f2.8, you get this really beautiful tight shot for close-ups with some great compression, giving you separation between your subject and your background. Now, keep in mind, you can get wide, medium close-up, and extra close-up shots at pretty much any focal length. They just give you completely different looks. And that's why I love the 2470 so much, because it really does give you a bunch of looks in one lens. Now, the major con with this particular lens for me, and this is just me grasping at straws, is just the fact that this lens telescopes. So I can't really put this on a gimbal and change focus lengths without having to rebalance the gimbal. But I think that's just this particular lens from Sigma. I'm sure there are other 2470s that don't do this, and you can definitely throw them on a gimbal and not have this problem. But at the end of the day, like I said, this is just me grasping at straws. I don't really care. In so many ways, this lens really is perfect. So let's talk about the ideal situations for this lens. It's pretty much everything. It's a fantastic generalist lens and it's great in many situations. But if you're going for more of a creative cinematic look or a vintage look, this lens might not cut it for you. The best way to describe the look you're going to get from this lens is vanilla. It's pretty straightforward. Now, you could add filters to the lens to give it some more character because this lens does come with an 82 millimeter filter thread, and you could add a Pro Mist filter or something that's going to diffuse the highlights and lift the shadows a bit. But in many ways, you're better off looking at vintage, prime, or cine lenses. That's a completely different discussion. However, when you get to that 70 millimeter range and you're not satisfied with the image that you're getting, that's when you're going to need the next lens, the 70 to 200 f2.8. That the big boy. So I pretty much use this for photography and that's about it. The way I was turned on to this lens was through my lovely photographer friend, Cynthia Schaefer. I'm going to link her profile here somewhere. She shoots a lot with this lens and I've always loved the look of her photos. Well, one day I finally bit the bullet and I got this lens. And I got to say, it's truly made photography so much more enjoyable for me. The results you get from this lens are truly great. It's ultra sharp practically at every focal length, and you get some amazing separation and bokeh, even at f2.8. Imagine if you shoot a subject that's in a large open space, you're going to get the dreamiest image. I guarantee it. Now, talking about pros and cons, it's really sharp pretty much at every focal length. There's no distortion around the edges. It's just great. The con, and I'm going to say this for speaking for others, is that it's a big, heavy lens. So if you don't lift, this is definitely going to feel pretty substantial. So coming in at 3.5 pounds, it's way heavier than the 2470 and the 14 to 24. My Panasonic S1H weighs in at 2.6 pounds. So combined, you're looking at 6.1 pounds for this package, not counting the batteries and any other accessories that you're going to add to it. When I cage this thing up with a V-mount battery and all the other peripherals, it gets up there and it's not a portable package after that. If you're just talking about the lens and the body, 6.1 pounds, which to some may not seem like much, but when you're lugging it around all day long and you have to be holding the camera steady up high and taking shots without a tripod, this can be challenging. I'll tell you though, it makes for one heck of a dumbbell. Like some bicep curls, some overhead tricep extensions, some front raises. I don't suggest doing that, but if you were in a pinch and you needed a dumbbell, this is an option. Ideal situations for this lens, not a dumbbell, but it is a killer photography lens and can definitely be used for interviews as a B-cam lens when you need that really tight shot from 10 to 20 feet away. When I travel and I only want to bring one body, one lens, knowing that I'm going to take a lot of photos, I bring this lens. If I needed to shoot from relatively far away at the back of an audience or something, and the 24-70 wasn't going to cut it, this lens is the one I go to. Kind of a no-brainer. Let's do a non-scientific comparison of the three lenses. Let's start with the 14 to 24. It comes in at 1.75 pounds, 3.3 inches by 5.2 inches. Combined with the Panasonic S1H, it comes in at 4.07 pounds. So just a tiny bit over 4 pounds. We might as well just say it is 4 pounds. The 24 to 70 comes in at just a little bit more at 1.84 pounds, 3.5 inches by 4.8 inches. And combined with the Panasonic S1H, comes in at about 4.16 pounds. So these two lenses, if you're already looking, you can definitely tell that they're just basically the same size, same shape, and they practically weigh about the same. So that's something to think about. The 70 to 200, however, you can definitely tell that there's a difference between this and these two lenses. The 70 to 200 weighs in at 3.46 pounds. Dimensions wise, it's 3.72 inches by 8.21 inches. Combined with the Panasonic S1H, you're a little over 6 pounds. So portability. In my Peter McKinnon 35-liter camera bag, I can fit these two lenses on their individual Panasonic S1Hs in the camera bag just fine side by side. If I needed the 70 to 200 in there, I'd store this in the middle part of the pack without a body, and it'll travel just fine. Now keep in mind that the three lenses combined with the two camera bodies comes to about 12 pounds minimum and can take up about 60 to 70% of the pack itself. And keep in mind, the Peter McKinnon 35-liter backpack is a large pack. Price range. The 14 to 24 millimeter Sigma f2.8 comes in at $1,249. You can find this on B&H and Amazon. The 24 to 70 Sigma f2.8 comes in at $1,029, and you can find this on B&H and Amazon. And I'm going to say that this is the best value, the best bang for your buck of all the lenses. The 70 to 200, this one comes in at $2,097, and you can find this at B&H and Amazon. So now we're going to do a field test with these three lenses. We're going to go with Red Hood today. I'm going to light up his eyes. Each of the lenses are going to be tested on Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark 1s. I'm probably going to get some weird looks. What do you think? Hi, neighbor. Okay, this is where each of the cameras are going to be. And then we're going to put our subject out 1 foot, and then 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, and then finally 50 feet. We're going to take each of the three lenses and we're going to give you an idea of what each camera looks like, or what each lens looks like from each distance. I had totally good intentions for you, but ultimately it kind of just worked out better if I just stood in frame instead. So while you look really good, I didn't really need you after all. Sorry. For your sanity, I decided to mute myself from these videos because I didn't want to bore you with all the details with my constant rambling about the lenses and the focal lengths and the distances and stuff. So what I want you to do is see for yourself each of the various lenses at different focal lengths at various distances, so you see what kind of image you get out of them. Also, you're going to see a comparison of all the lenses at their various focal lengths from their lowest to their longest focal length at the set distance. So you can see for yourself how they look compared to each other. All right, that's enough for me. Go ahead and watch, see for yourself, and enjoy. Okay, remember that secret lens trick I was telling you about earlier? It's time. Every lens has what's known as the sweet spot. This is the aperture at which your lens will give you the maximum sharpness and giving you the best possible quality out of your lens. The general rule of thumb to achieve this is to adjust your aperture 2 to 3 stops down from the widest or fastest aperture your lens can handle. So in the case of these lenses, the widest aperture is f2.8. The sweet spot for these lenses is 4.0 to 5.6. What this basically means is if you're looking to get the best sharpness while getting the best overall image, you generally will want to shoot f4.0 or f5.6 for a lens that is f2.8. So when you're shooting in broad daylight, this is great. But if you're shooting indoors with less ambient light, you're definitely going to need to add lighting to expose properly. Alternatively, you can always increase your ISO, but beware if you crank your ISO to brighten up your image, you're also increasing the risk of introducing noise into your image. So take that with a grain of salt. This sweet spot applies to zoom lenses and fixed prime lenses as well. I don't know if this rule necessarily applies to point and shoot cameras that have built-in lenses, but it's worth giving a shot. Try it out for yourself. I'd love to hear your results. Just leave that in the comment section below. All right, so let's talk about which you should get. If I couldn't afford all 3 lenses, my number 1 would be this lens. Now, if you're more of a photographer, content creator, I would lean into these 2 lenses. If you're doing vlogging, if you're doing run and gun productions, real estate, talking head videos, I would definitely get these 2 lenses together. But if you can afford to get all 3, definitely get all 3 because you're going to use all 3 for sure. You're going to drop over 4K on these lenses. Heck yeah, it's a crazy investment, but it has a high return if you're eager to get after it. But trust me when I say, if you're serious, you need to invest in lenses that are going to support your work and make you look like a total G. For me, it's these lenses. And that's why I took the time to make this video for you, because it's the absolute truth. You could invest on all sorts of things, but at the end of the day, the lenses are going to give you the best return and really have the highest impact in your overall production. With that being said, if you're growing in the profession, it's the one investment you will 1000% make your return and then some. For those of you who are starting out, I would say start out with the 2470 to earn that money and reinvest in your craft. For those of you who are already making money and earning a decent living as a creator, you already get what I'm talking about. So just get all 3. If you're short on cash, go find yourself someone who would buy the lens for you as a trade for you to produce content for them using that lens. It's a win-win for everybody. So there you have it. These are the 3 lenses I highly recommend. The 14 to 24, the 2470, and the 70 to 200. With this trio, you're pretty much going to be able to cover a wide variety of shots, and you're going to find yourself booking more gigs. That is if you have the skills and the networking ability to back that up. Ooh, that would make a really good video. Okay, we're going to talk about that, but not here. So what are your thoughts? Which of the 3 are you going to get first? Which of the 3 are you going to get next? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you found value in this video, please give it a like. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, I'm Kevin Lee. Bye.